that stuff, like fractals. This isn't for you. Please scroll. This is legitimately a theory. I will figure it out one day. But I believe that we are disconnected from our highest selves in this reality, that this matrix exists, that the mind is essentially your Bluetooth connection to the simulation, all out of safety for all of us. Hear me out. Imagine you are born into this lifetime, not remembering that you are a creator, but still attached to all of your gifts. Meaning, you don't remember the spiritual laws. You don't remember that if you do something bad, it's going to come back to you. You don't remember anything about energy. You don't remember any of that. But if you were connected to your gifts, would this world not be Gotham City? Because if this simulation is based in duality, you can't have the light without the dark. That means we would be acting out of our shadows with magic, not understanding why it is bad, which is dangerous. So this system was put into place so people could come here and as safe as possible, spiritually I'm saying, as safe as possible, learn the lessons, and then being protected collectively from ourselves until mentally our brain monitor has allowed us to tap back into the powers that we all naturally have. However, the higher ups who know more about the system use it in a negative way to keep people from understanding their full potential. But this system was always created for protection.
So with the last video, there's a perspective of the simulation was created to protect you, but the ones who are disagreeable have used that against you, have inverted the simulation to feed them instead of feeding your expansion, your growth, for example.
So the truth is, we live in a parallel universe, which basically means that there's multiple different versions of the world, but we only see one at a time. This has been shown time and time again by scientists through experiments such as Schrodinger's cat. Parallel universe is just a fancy way to say a world that coexists with our world, but is very different from it. For my religious folk that aren't too shabby with science, religion talks about this too. The variation of Earth from a religious sense would be heaven or hell, or the spiritual realm. The spiritual realm doesn't only exist when we pass away. It exists all the time right now. It is parallel to us. It is current, simultaneous, and always accessible through practices such as meditation and prayer. So why is this important? Why does knowing about parallel universes matter? And what does it have to do with manifestation? Let me tell you why. The thing about having parallel universes means that if there's a parallel universe, there are parallel versions of you as well. Yes, you are operating in this realm, but also operating in other realms simultaneously. I'm literally getting chills. There are different levels of you operating at higher levels of consciousness, while others are operating at lower levels of consciousness, but they are all accessible. This is where quantum jumping comes in. Quantum jumping is pretty much changing your reality by jumping parallels or levels of consciousness. Basically, there's a better version of you, but there's also a lesser version of you. And with every decision that you make, you become more like one or the other.
When you understand a certain level, they know how the game works. They cannot affect you. You're let out of the game. In that sense, you're never let out of the game completely, which I'll explain that as well. But there's a point there because this is all based on consciousness. This is all based on frequencies. This is all based on vibration, the vibration of your consciousness. There's a measurement here. We're dealing with electromagnetic energy. And what that means. I call these the investigators. And the reason why I call them the investigators is because they check you out. They check out how you work, how your body works, how your brain works, how your mind works. This is how all the mind control happens. Because anybody who is just so out of touch, it just be really easy for mind control to occur. That's why I'm saying you've got to get off the programs. You've got to examine your life and see where you are. Is it just fear that I'm engaging in? Is it just a bunch of programs? Because I don't care what anybody says. There's a great science at work. If you want freedom, freedom is only going to come from in here. There's nothing out there. That's the illusion. It's only going to come from within. Regardless of what it is, we talk about the government, we talk about corporations, all of those systems are the game and they exist to limit you and to make you think that they are all powerful and that they can hold you down. And they do when you engage in it, which we're going to talk about also. Those who manipulate this unseen mechanism of society constitute an invisible government, which is the true ruling power of our country.
The subconscious. And this is where you get people who recognize the zombies and the vampires who have succumbed to the environment, the simulation, and they continue to stay in it, and they want you to stay in it as well. And we're going to get into family members.
There's a specific reason why your life has been repeating the same patterns for years. You were born with access to the fifth dimension, but you were programmed to operate only in the third. That toxic person, the relationship that always ends the same way, the illness that appears out of nowhere. They're all mirrors showing what you hide within yourself. Vedic texts, the Kabbalah, and the Gnostic Gospels, which were suppressed at Nag Hammadi, all describe this technology of consciousness that initiatory orders have used for centuries. At the same time, you were taught that you're a victim of circumstances. Godard was marginalized for revealing that. Beyond being able to use imagination and feeling to create reality, there exists a deeper awakening where you discover that you are the creative consciousness itself, experiencing itself as human. Each person in your experience is literally yourself who has forgotten who you really are, projected outward. The educational system was architected to block this perception, but the programming is failing. The strange physical symptoms, the impossible synchronicities, and the prophetic dreams, your body is recalibrating to process frequencies that have always been available. You've always created your reality. The only change now is being able to do it